Solar panels. It's been the topic of discussion with many of my friends, family, and some great business partners. And because of the technical assistance I received from NREL's Clean Energy to Community C2C Expert Match Program, I received great information and knowledge I'd like to share with you about my journey and what it takes to implement agrivoltaics on my farm.
My name is Cetta Barnhart, and I'm the owner-operator of Seed Time Harvest Farms in Monticello, Florida. We have operated a CSA, a Community Supported Agricultural Program, that allowed us to meet with farmers from as far as Jackson County in Florida over into Madison County, Florida, up into South Georgia, and down into Central Florida, and providing for fresh food deliveries to customers in our 35-mile, 50-mile radius here in Monticello, Florida, Jefferson County. I first heard about agrivoltaics through an invitation of to attend a conference in Denver, Colorado, about clean energy. It was about clean energy projects. And what happened when we got there, we had a chance to visit Jack's Solar Garden. The bomb diggity. In regards to changing your farming practices and looking at how you implement programs that really generate income on your farm. Every farmer has a challenge with how you're going to pay the bills, and we all know vegetables are great, but they don't pay all the bills. There's other things you need to implement on your land, on your farm, that will help drive income streams to your farming practices. And as a farmer and as one that is looking as a demonstration site to be a place where people can come and see, agritourism is a big deal. Come see how farmers can do practices that will generate incomes for them, but also provide an educational opportunity for those that are not in farming but want to learn more about food and how you can do land. This raised a great flag for me. It wasn't a red flag, it was a green flag. And at this conference in Denver, we got a chance to visit Jack's farm and see a whole operation of how it really worked. And I came back to Florida pretty stoked about how I can implement that same practices on my own farm. So a farmer would want to consider using agrivoltaics for a couple of reasons. One, most farms, especially if you own and live on the farm, you have a utility bill. And the way you can exchange your utility bill and incorporate some clean energy projects is by that of incorporating solar on your farm. Solar on your farm is called agrivoltaics. And agrivoltaics allows for a couple of things. One, again, it allows for you to exchange your utility costs and allow for you to possibly make some money on that deal as well as have a concentrated area where you can grow specific types of crops that will give you a higher yield. Some crops like shade, some crops like sun. With the positioning of solar panels, it allows for you to have a more productive portion of your crop that can help enhance your farming practices. A farmer can do agrivoltaics, but there are a few things to take in consideration. One of those very first things to take in consideration is how close your farm is to utility source. Where those poles are that you see that the lines run across properties to allow for you to tap into an energy source. Well, the further away you are, the more it costs. The closer you are to those sources, the more feasible it might be for you to have solar and an agrivoltaics project on your farm. One of the other things to consider is your land usage. How much land do you have? You only need up to about an acre to provide solar and energy to your own home. But if you're looking to do a larger space, you really need to make sure that you have a clear space, good sunny space, that you can reap the benefits from the sun and using solar panels. So some of the factors that make it difficult for you to implement solar on your property, especially as a farmer, is location. I'll go there first. And then you also need to understand what your city officials have said about what they want in their counties. We live in 67 counties of Florida, and every one of them have a different position on how they're implementing solar information into the community, how they're embracing solar. You have the opportunity as a farmer, if you have a farm number and have an ag exemption, you have the right to do solar on your property. Cost feasibility is a great factor to consider. So a real comparison to what your current utility costs are versus that of implementing solar has to be done. And working with the right company, why it's important to interview multiple solar companies to find the right amount of money for you to expend. It's an exchange, and what you're spending, you're going to spend some money. Make sure that that number is something you can feasibly work with until such time that you hit what's called net zero. And that's a space where you're no longer paying for your utilities. Your system is now paying you. So in considering which solar company you would want to work with to implement your agrivoltaics project, there are a couple things you need to take note of. One, do they know anything about agrivoltaics? That would help if they do. Two, you also want to know how much you need in the way of a solar array to meet your current utility costs and implement something that's going to be a project that will help your growing systems play out. Thirdly, one of the things to look at is cost relation. So you're taking your current utility costs and comparing to what they say your new cost will be and implementing this program. But then how long it would take for you to pay off those solars and you actually reap a benefit of having that clean energy process in place on your farm. So those are things to take in consideration. Cost, whether they know, because in that solar company, there are engineers and designers. You need to make sure that that array meets your need on your farm. And that's something to make sure you take consideration of. So one of the major things in considering this agrivoltaics process is talk to folks. Talk and find out what people know about implementing solar on their farms. This is a new process, and I'm grateful to be one of the forerunners of this in the state of Florida. But believe me, it's been a lot of work toward this goal of implementing solar on my farm. We've asked a lot of questions. We've used a lot of tools to gauge what is real true cost and effect of doing a agrivoltaics project on your farm. So you need to have a village, I would say, so to speak, among your farmers who either have implemented or know something about it. And because it's a countrywide, almost global-wide practice, talking to other people in other states is also important, because you'll learn those that have already implemented these processes, how they've done it. And in the state of Florida, you'll learn what roadblocks you need to get over and who you need to talk to, who your collaborating partners need to be to make it a successful project.